Show me the thing! Alright, we're gonna get right into it with this submission by Lighten. Here's what he has to say about it. Super proud big brother moment. I asked my 11-year-old brother, G-Man, if he wanted to learn how to mod a Nerf gun. He said yes, so I asked him what he wanted to do. He said pump Retaliator. So I challenged him to make it only using stuff we already had. He directed the project. I helped run the power tools, and this is what he came up with. He had the idea of a single bar along the spine of the blaster instead of two along the sides, and honestly, it works really well. And I agree. Made purely out of parts that you had lying around, this is a really nice pump action kit for a Retaliator. I don't know how well it would stand up to a really heavy spring upgrade, but there was no mention of that, so you wouldn't need to worry about how well the weight's distributed. I think it came out really well, so well done, Lighten and G-Man. Keep it up. Up next, we have a submission by Josem, and I've seen quite a few minimized or heavily modified dual strikes. I've done one myself, and this is one of my favorites. He says he calls it the DSSR, short for Dual Strike Scout Rifle. It's a dual strike with a PVC breech, with a Nerf attachment on it for a Spectre barrel, and a long strike stock flipped upside down to create dart storage just in the magazine, since it's obviously not magazine fed. He doesn't actually know what it's chronoed at, but he has an 8 kilogram long shot spring and says it'll shoot about 70 feet flat. So that's fairly impressive, and I really like the colors that he's gone with and the general integrations of it all. Well done there, Joseph. Next we have Scott, and he has submitted something that you just know I'm gonna love, because it is a shoulder-mounted rapid-fire 20 that he designed for a LARP, where he plays an android, and this is kind of a last-ditch weapon. It's obviously not meant to be a primary weapon, because it's kind of you pull the trigger and, well, you're done now, because if the thing holds enough pressure, it'll drain it pretty much in one shot. It's integrated onto the shoulder using some plastic parts from around the house, as well as a backpack strap. He then has minimized it, as well as the actual bladder is kind of hangs down on the back. The one downside he had was that it's got leaks, and so it won't keep pressure, so he has to keep pumping it up, which, quite frankly, would be kind of a neat roleplay aspect for the android, who's basically constantly pumping this thing to keep it going. I think that could have been, I don't know if he did it, but I think that would have been a neat character feature of it. Just has to keep manually filling the air tank. So I really like how it came out. There's a whole lot of things you could do to more automate it. You could obviously add a motorized pump to keep the pressure. You could also wire the release onto a solenoid, so you could have just a button on your hand that you just push and it blasts, and then the pump automatically kicks in to pump it. If you wanted to go, full high tech on this, you could do a lot of really neat things with this idea, and I really, really like it. And I like the matching with the Iron Man. Apparently the Iron Man helmet isn't actually part of the Android cosplay, but it sure is very, very fitting, and it was the inspiration for the idea, so I really like how that one came out, Scott. Up next, we have NS the Gamer's blaster, the Madhouse. It's obviously, as you can tell, a Captain Cassian Andor blaster with a base with a Raptor Strike stock integrated into it, and I think those go together really, really well. And then he did, of course, a lot of cosmetic work. The blue splatters are really, really cleanly done, and I really like how he did that. One issue he apparently ran into is that it is running 2S LiPo with Fang revamps and an OFP cage, but the OFP cage didn't quite fit right, apparently, and so even though he's only using Fang motors, he still ended up having to cut the shell because the OFP cage didn't quite want to sit properly. And I'm not sure if that's a design flaw in the OFP cage, or if it didn't print well, or if he just wasn't seating it properly, or what exactly the issue is there. But he was a little bit disappointed that he had to cut the shell, and he hasn't come up with a cover for it yet. But he's also swapped out the LEDs with orange LEDs instead of the stock ones, and got rid of the sound. And where the speaker used to be, he has a voltmeter. So really, really nice looking cosmetic build, as well as the internal upgrade. So well done, NS the Gamer. This next one was done by Pheonix, and it was apparently slightly inspired by my modular deploy magwell. They saw that and decided to try to build a blaster entirely out of PVC parts. Apparently they have some experience doing instruments and marshmallow cannons, so they decided to make a fancy all PVC Nerf blaster. So it's got a bolt action breech like mine does, and then a bicycle pump on the top, and then I assume a solenoid release, and that's the battery housing and the trigger there in the handle. Really, really neat concept. You can do a lot of things cosmetically with something like this. I mean, you go like this and it has that very, very post-apocalyptic, dystopian look about it. But you could use that same technology but integrate it into a shell and get some really interesting and powerful blasters that could really surprise people. I love the use of the deploy magwell there because, I mean, that is what is so beautiful about that particular magwell, is it's self-contained and you can do things like this. There is a video. Hopefully I will figure out how to put a link to it here. If not, the link will be down in the description as you can see it actually in action, because they have a YouTube channel. So check that out. Very, very cool. Pheonix. And last but certainly not least, we have Nick from the UK with his customized Vigilante. And cosmetic customization really doesn't do this build justice. I have no idea what he used to create that shell, whether it's entirely handmade out of putty or if it's a Halloween toy that's been cut up and grafted on, but it is absolutely gorgeously executed. This would be just an absolutely magnificent thing for, some sort of steampunk cosplay or post-apocalyptic cosplay or whatever you wanted to use it for. There's lots of different genres where something that elaborate and complex would fit in very, very nicely. So, Nick from the UK, this is magnificent. On to the slideshow! Some gorgeous, gorgeous work in there. Beautiful paint jobs and simple integrations and very, very beautiful work, all of you guys. You guys send just the coolest pictures. I am slowly getting through my backlog because thanks to the slideshow format, I am getting through a lot more of these a lot quicker. I think I've got less than 100 in my backlog now, so I should be caught up in probably 2 more months, depending on how many more I get sent. Feel free to continue sending me these. I love seeing the stuff that you guys have put together. Do try to make sure that the pictures you send are in focus, and preferably in a landscape format, because they show up much better in the video when they're landscape rather than portraits. So turn your phone sideways when you take a picture. And definitely send them to me. Give me if they've got a name, put the name in there. If it is a complex integration of some sort, give me the full details, because those are the ones I tend to talk about. and whatever you want your name to appear on the screen, of course, put that in the email as well. So, love seeing this. Look forward to seeing what you send me in the future. Thank you guys for watching.